Welcome to the tutorial on HIPAA, PHI, and anonymizing. If you're going to author teaching files, you should understand the rules regarding the sharing of patient information. You should also know how to limit this sharing to the bare minimum necessary for educational purposes. The goals of this tutorial are to learn about protected health information, or PHI, see how PHI enters teaching files, and to protect patients by anonymizing. The first topic is about PHI. So what is protected health information? PHI is any information within a medical record that can identify an individual. This includes names, social security numbers, photos of the face, and a large number of other possible identifiers. The laws governing PHI are part of the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, also known as HIPAA. According to HIPAA, only authorized caregivers are allowed to view PHI. Disclosure to other parties not associated with the care of the patient is prohibited. Since MIRC is an electronic system that allows users to share medical knowledge, there exists a greater possibility that HIPAA rules may be violated. Teaching file authors should exercise great caution when uploading PHI into the MIRC database. The second topic is PHI in teaching files. There are several ways that PHI can make its way into teaching files. The DICOM files imported into MIRC may contain PHI inside. And remember, we can import DICOMs into MIRC in this way. You make a folder in the file cabinet, click Upload, and then you navigate and you find your DICOM. And notice it says Anonymized DICOM files. That's because the DICOMs contain PHI. Another way is through images of plain films from digitizers, from cameras, or from screenshots that are marked with patient information. Here's an example of a plain film that has patient information. It's been obscured here so that you can't see it, but normally these plain films have patient information. Another way for patient information to enter a teaching file is for an author to add a patient within a teaching file. So let's create a basic one here and show that. I go to history and then I add a patient like we saw in the Making Better Teaching Files tutorial. If I added a bunch of patient information here, that's another way. And then lastly, the author could choose to add patient information to any other section just by typing it into any of the text boxes. So that's pretty much all the ways that PHI can enter teaching files, and as you can see, there are many ways. The third topic is anonymizing, and this is about protecting patients' PHI. So who has access to teaching files submitted to the MIRC database at KUMC? Since the University of Kansas Hospital Library is a local private library, it's only accessible by users logged into MIRC at KUMC. Users on MIRC systems at other hospitals cannot access this library. There are public libraries available, as you can see in this list, and all MIRC users around the world have access to these libraries. So only individuals who have been given credentials by radiology IT personnel at our hospital have access to the files on our system. This means that our files are already protected in a way. That being said, it's still best to practice protecting our patients as much as possible. The easiest way to do that is to completely de-identify cases used in teaching files. The first way to protect your patients is not to add any additional PHI in the first place to a teaching file by typing it into any of the sections of a teaching file. So let's open a teaching file real quick. Like history, findings, those kind of sections. Don't type any protected health information into the boxes there. Also, don't add a new patient and fill out that information. Just leave the patients out of it. And if you do add a patient section, if you have a good reason for that, make sure that you check the Suppress PHI checkbox so that only the owner of the case can view that information, and it's not public. Secondly, if you're going to upload DICOMs into the system, like we discussed earlier, make sure that you check the Anonymized DICOM files box when you do the upload, so that it strips the DICOM file of the PHI and only brings in the image. Also, if you're going to be using images of plain films from digitizers, cameras, or screenshots that are marked with patient information, make sure to obscure this information. If you have a plain film, you can do this with electrical tape. Just place the electrical tape over the label of the PHI, the patient's name or ID. If you have an image that's already on your hard drive, you can use an image editor like Microsoft Paint to black out the patient information. So notice we have obscured patient information here. Just make a black box around it. Like that. And then you can obscure the patient information that way. As a last resort, when you make your teaching file, you can go to the PHI tab. This is if you already know that you have to have PHI in your case for whatever reason. And you can fill out this information here so that every time that information is accessed, it's logged appropriately according to HIPAA rules. So what's the next step? The next step is a tutorial on searching for cases.